Welcome to Blonde Cards and Crafts. Let's make something together. Hello crafters and welcome to my craft room. Today we are going to make a card using the Papercraft Society box number 34. This box has been designed by the lovely Lou Collins, and this is Lou. And she's the designer of the textures range with Craftstash. So with this box I have previously made 2 cards, and I'll leave links to those down below. The card we're going to make today, we're going to use some of the stamps and dies that come in the kit, and this is the card that we're going to make. So this card has some ink smushing on it, it has some die cutting and some stamping. It isn't the original design that I was going for. I was planning to use some of the other elements that come in the kit, but I realized I don't have an affinity for them, or to be honest, I didn't like using them. So of all the kits we've got, I think that there is some elements in this that I really didn't get on well with, but I do leave them in. I have to say I did love using the kit. I do like the card that I've made. I love the 2 previous cards that I made, but yeah, sometimes we find out that some products are just not our cup of tea. So I hope I have you intrigued. If I do, I hope you'll sit back, relax and enjoy the video. So here I am, I have my card base here, and this is a piece of cardstock measuring 10 by 7, and I've scored it at 5 to give us a 5 by 7 card base. My panel here measures 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and we're going to sit that on top. We're going to embellish our card front, but before we do that, we need to ink up our panel. So I'm going to put my card base out of the way. I'm going to bring in my laminated sheet that I have made myself, and that way I can do my inky mess on this and keep my desk tidy. So I'm going to use some Papercraft Society inks for my inking. These are my inks here that I have, and I think I'm going to take a nice navy color, and I think we'll go with a green as well. Green and navy with our pink butterfly. Yeah, I think green and navy with our pink butterfly. So there we go. So now I just want to do a nice tidy panel. So I'm going to put some ink down. Okay. And add some of our green. And I'm going to give that a little spray. Oh, splashy. And then I'm going to bring my panel over to this. And I want to kind of get my inking here, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm just going to drop it down like so. And I'll add a little bit of pressure. Let's see how this looks. Oh, lovely. I'm going to get some kitchen paper to soak up some of this green. I'm going to add a little of that over here. And you can see I'm not being precious with it now at all. So I'm going to allow that to dry a little bit. And while that's drying, I'm going to move on to our butterfly, our large butterfly. So I have my dies here, and you can see when I take my dies off my plastic that they come in the kit, I add them to a sheet of 300 GSM white cardstock. I then put some magnetic sheet on, and that way then I can sit them into the sleeve. So I've taken the big butterfly, you can see it here. I've also taken this trio of butterflies. It will either, if you use a piece of cardstock, it'll die cut the 3 butterflies out for you, or you can just have them so that they're, you know, loose butterflies like this. So I die cut this piece out twice. I've die cut out my butterfly, and I've also taken the body and I've die cut that out once as well, and I did that in a purple color. So they're what I've used from the dies. Now when you die cut out your piece, it doesn't cut away the body. We'll do that later, but you can see here on the back there's some little holes going on here. I have taken a little foam piece, and I have taken a pokey tool. We got this in a previous Papercraft Society kit, and I have just gone along into each of the holes and I have just punched through. And the reason I have done that is to make it easier for me when I go to do my stitching. That way the holes are already there for me, so I know exactly where to go. So let's speed this up now and I'll finish off doing this. I have one side done, so we just need to finish this side. So now I have that done. We can pop our butterfly off, and as I said, our butterfly is left in here, so we'll need to cut this off. And that's the great thing about getting the body separately. We can cover up where we have cut it out. But this is lovely. If you've seen the last card I made, I took a panel where I die cut out the butterfly and I left it in like this. So you know, it gives you the options of using it different ways. So I'll move that out of the way now. I'm going to, oh, I have one little piece left in there. So now I'm going to cut this off from here, and I'll use my scissors for that. And what I like to do is just make a little V like that. That way, so the body will hide where we've cut this out. Lovely. I'll just tidy up this piece here. Perfect. And you know, when you die cut out your butterfly and you cut it off, you can use this as a stencil. We do get fab stencils in the kit, but that's what you can do with that. So now we have all our little pieces poked out. I just noticed I missed 1 or 2 little holes there, so we can just pop it back in to its place. Make sure it's all nicely lined up, and then where we missed, we can then go back over. So don't worry if you miss any. It's really, really easy to line up your butterfly. So we'll pop it back out now. And now I'm going to take my thread and I'm going to stitch this. So I have my threads here, and as I've gone with the purple for the body, I'm going to go with the purple for around the stitching. And I'm going to need my needle as well, so I'll pop that in there. And you can use the little tool that we get here for popping out the holes if you want, but I just found the pokey tool worked just as well for me. That came from a previous kit. So now I'm going to add a little thread, and we've also got our little threader here as well, so I'll take that out. And then we can take some thread from here. Now I'm just going to be brutal and pull it off. I'm sure there's people going, no, Simone, don't do that. But there you go. Okay, so I'll take a length of my thread. And as you can see, this scissors is not good for cutting thread. I do have a thread scissors or a material scissors, but Buster has hurt his paw, and I was using that to put a bandage, to cut the bandage that I put around his paw. So now we pop our threader through the needle, then we put the thread through that, and then we pull that through the needle, and that then will thread our needle for us. And if you're as poor sighted as me, you'll be very glad with that little tool. Now I'm going to put a little knot, and I'm going to cut this so it has a better finish on it. That's very frayed. I'm going to put a little knot at the end of it. And then we shall stitch our butterfly. So I'm going to start from the back, and I think what I'll do is start from over here. That way then what I can do is I can allow the knot, then I can stick it behind the main body. So now it's just a matter of gently and carefully stitching our wings on our butterfly. So I'm stitching away here, and I'm threading my needle through the holes, and the first thing I realize is that the needle with the bulk of the thread that's going through there is a little bit hard on the cardstock that we got. Some of the holes that I've punched through are quite close to the edge of the butterfly's wing, so pushing through the needle causes the hole to widen, and where it is very close to the edge, it causes the hole to tear. So I found on one side, I got about halfway up one side, and I think it popped out about 4 of the holes. So I was getting quite frustrated, and I only got halfway because I thought, you know what, this is frustrating, and crafting really should be a joy, and I'm not feeling the joy with this. So I thought, you know what, maybe it's just because I'm using the cardstock. Let's have a look and see if it's any different with the parchment. So I've die cut out my parchment, and I thought this time I'm going to use the tool provided. So there are 2 different ends on the tool, and one is kind of a sharper point than the other. So I go along my butterfly, and I'm just again going to do all one side. And once I have all the little holes popped out, then I can do my stitching. So I pop the pieces out, and I have to say the parchment does feel better than the cardstock in that it feels stronger. So I'm kind of thinking, oh, this will probably be much better. And I'm enthused now to do it to this and just see how I get on. So I leave it in and start stitching away, and I'm popping it through. I've used the tool that was provided, and I'm sewing it through, and I'm finding it kind of hard when it's left in the parchment itself. So finding the holes from the back and threading it through, but I still find the same thing with doing it with the parchment. I find that, and even though I have this sped up so it kind of looks like, you know, I'm just pulling and lashing at it, I am being delicate, I am being careful, but you can see there my needle went through, and it's so close to the edge. So I don't know if this is going to be an issue for anyone else. I have to say, sitting down and, you know, doing some stitching, embroidery on a piece and putting it on a card, to me, that isn't me. I wouldn't sit down in front of the TV with a number of butterflies or flowers or whatever and just stitch them. That is not my pleasure. But I think using the die to pierce the butterfly like I've done and having that as a real cool looking element on my butterfly is something I would definitely do. I love that in my second card, when I ink blended over where I had pierced the second butterfly, the butterfly layer, it darkens where the holes are. So it does give a lovely effect. But for me, this was a good taste at doing some sewing or stitching or embroidery, whatever you want to call it, on some card or paper or parchment. I know now that this is something I wouldn't enjoy to do, so it's not something I would go away and, you know, put money into having in my craft room. Now, saying that, there are lots of fantastic inspiration in the booklet that came in the kit, and plenty of the designers in there have done the stitching to the die elements, and they've used them in their projects, which is great. But for me, and I like to be objective because I'm not being given the kit by Craftstash, I'm paying for it. So I kind of feel I can give an honest review, and I can honestly say I love the Craftstash kits. I do feel that they are more or less good value for money. I think everything, because of COVID, has gone up in price. So I think, you know, what we pay for a kit, you know, Craftstash do have to make a certain amount of profit, you know, as well as pay for products. So I feel what I pay for my kit is value enough. Do I feel there could be more products in it? Yes, I do. But that's just me as a crafter. I want all the goodies. But do I feel this is something I would take the time and energy to do for a card? No, this is not for me. So there you go. I'm going to move on now to what I do instead. And you know me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to die cut out the butterfly. So here I am. I've die cut out my butterfly, and I'm just going to pop it out now of the die. And I'm going to be very careful taking this out of the die because I don't want to tear my butterfly. Because it's joined to my panel there in the middle, I need to be careful and watch what I'm doing. So again, I'm going to cut this free. So now I have my butterfly. I'm going to give the wings a little bit of a curl onto this one. And I'll add a little bit of glue now so my body can sit in. Perfect. Now, my panel is dry. My idea is for my butterflies to sit on my panel like so. I'm going to use the sentiment, celebrate being you, and I'm going to stamp that up here. And I'm going to use my platform for this because I want to make sure that it stamps nicely. So I'll move all these out of the way. I'll pop that in our stamping platform. Okay, so now we'll use some ink, and I'm going to go with some black ink for this. And I'm going to use my Versafine Onyx black ink. And this way we can stamp it a couple of times if it needs to be stamped a couple of times. That looks pretty good. I'll just add another little bit of ink, give it a second. Ugh, I hate that flip lid. Does anybody else hate it? It's just the T there, I think. That's looking better. Yes, perfect. And I'm going to add this now to my base. And once I have that done, and I think I'm going to add a little bit of colour around the edge. So I'll take my blending brush and I'll take in the blue. And using my blending brush, I'm going to go all around the outside with the blue for the top half, and then I'll take my green ink and my green blending brush and I'll use the green around the bottom half. And I think this makes this panel pop on my card base. Lovely, I like that. I think it gives a better definition to the edge of our panel, and I think it sits better than on our card base. So I'm going to add some tape now to this because it has a little bit of warping going on there. So I've added some double-sided tape now to the back of my panel, and I'm taking the release paper down halfway. That way then I can add it to my card base. By doing this, I can kind of focus on my panel being in the right position so that I have a nice even border going the whole way around. And because the release paper is hanging off there at the bottom, I can move it where I want it, and then once it's in the right place, I can press down on the top and pull out the release paper from underneath, and that way then I know it's going to be positioned nicely on my card base. And now I can add a little adhesive to my butterfly's base where the body is. We can then stick that down, and it will probably flatten out in a card, so I want to make sure I leave enough room for that. But you can put a little bit of hot glue or a little foam pad behind, and that'll help them to stay up, which I'm going to do. And then I'm going to embellish our little butterflies. Now I'm going to take some fine liners that I have in my stash, and these ones I got from Mr. Price. I'm in Ireland, as a lot of you know, and these are the ones that I use from Mr. Price. They're the Hexagrip ones, and I keep them in my little holder that I made using empty toilet rolls. Wrapped it with some patterned paper, and it's a little hold all that I have off here to the side. So I like to use these. They're really good. So I can take, I think I'll pick out some of the purple and the blue, and I'm just going to embellish the little bodies like so. then I'll do a little dot. Like what we've got going on with our big butterfly. I've all my little butterflies embellished. I'm curling their wings over and I'm going to add just 2 of them to the front of the card. And then I'm going to add one of the smaller ones to the inside of the card. I'm also going to embellish the large butterfly and put some Spectrum Noir sparkle on the wing. I'll take my fine liner pen and then I will give my 2 little butterflies an antenna so they look similar to our large one. So you need to be careful when you're adding your Spectrum Noir sparkle pen where you've used the fine liners because they are water reactive, but it gives our butterflies a lovely sparkle. Perfect, so now we just need to embellish the inside. I've stamped the inside with the sentiment, if nothing ever changed, there would be no butterflies, and I've used my Versafine Clair Belle ink and a stamping block for that. I'm adding the little butterfly down there, and that's the smallest of the 3. And then I'm going to take some of my green Versafine Clair ink. This one is called Shady Lane, and I'll use that to stamp my little leaf embellishment inside, as well as do some 2nd generation stamping on the front of our card as well. I just wanted to kind of fill that white space there towards the bottom. So there we go, there is our 3rd card using the Papercraft Society box number 34, designed by Lou Collins. I hope you've enjoyed this crafty visit with me. If you have, you might consider giving my video a thumbs up. If you're a subscriber, thanks for subscribing, and if not, please do click on that subscribe button and ding the bell. That way you'll be notified each time I post a new video, and the YouTube algorithm will know that you're interested in my videos. So that's it. Here's some images of the card we've made and of the 3 cards that I made in total using this kit. So until next time, friends, stay safe, take care, and thanks for watching. Bye for now.